Hello, hello. Leah Weston here with AVI Systems for our Monday Moments. It's a new month, my fourth month of these, and so I've picked a letter every month and then looked for topics to share about that as my guideline. And for May, it's the letter G. Thanks for everyone joining, and the purpose of this is connection, inspiration, and information. So I really appreciate you taking a listen. Uh, I watched a great series. I love you all. Anyone who's seen a few of these knows I love TED Talks. I also love biographies, and so I watched the one. It's from National Geographic. I saw it on Hulu. It's called Genius. They have three. They have Aretha Franklin, Picasso, and Albert Einstein. I watched the Albert Einstein series. There were about 10 episodes. Ron Howard was one of the directors, so very well done. The architecture and the period costumes and everything. And so Albert Einstein was a genius. And I didn't realize that he was the one who penned the quote of the definition of insanity. So none of us want to do the same thing the same way and expect different results. That is insane. And I didn't realize that that his younger son was mentally ill. His name was Edward. He was born in 1910, and he had a trajectory that was going to be like his father's. He was going to be a famous physicist. He did great in school, music, everything. Similar to a very close family member of mine who's been struggling with mental health also. Mental illness is actually more of it. So Edward uh, ended up being institutionalized, and he died at the age of 55. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia at the age of 20. So here we are, 2021. We have a huge mental health epidemic tsunami coming our way. I'm really thankful to work with clients with telehealth and help them. Some clients that are building behavioral health facilities, and others that are here local in Colorado that are smaller nonprofits, and we're helping them with technology in their conference rooms and to communicate because these numbers are really staggering. I'll share information from the Kaiser Family Foundation. I'll share a link to an article they wrote recently about the implications of COVID-19 for mental health and substance abuse. And one of these, the first figure that they represented in here shows in 2019, 11% of adults reported anxiety disorder or depressive disorder. And in January of 2021, how many fold increase do you think it was? It was 41%, from 11% to 41%. That's just adults. The children, from the effects of COVID and what they've seen with us adults, and teenagers were already having a crisis before all this happened. So this has been personally affecting me with a very close family member. I referenced before about my loved ones that were struggling. And, one of them is my friend Helen. And she's going to be 93 next month, and her dementia is coming in, yet she's so fiercely independent. She wants to stay home. And, she is having delusions that people are coming in and stealing things from her and stuff. At the other end of the spectrum, my 21-year-old, she's like an adopted daughter to me. She wrote her a high school essay on depression and suicidal ideations. So I feel like I have an open mind, and I'm aware, and I'm empathetic, and I realized that I needed to learn more and do more. So what I want to share with everyone is that it was actually a TED Talk that helped me a lot. It's one that I'll share the link to of Dr. Daniel Amen, who did 83,000 brain scans. He's a psychiatrist. And that kind of flipped a switch for me and helped me realize that depression and anxiety are not something that we can say, oh, don't be nervous, get outside and get some sunshine, listen to music, be in nature, things like this. It's an actual brain chemical imbalance in the brain. And taking away the stigma of mental health is imperative. It's like for Einstein's son Edward, they did that electroconvulsive therapy and things that actually harmed him more than helped him. And I just wonder, if he was born in 1910. So if he were born in 2010 and was 20 years old in 2030, in a few years, will we be wiser about understanding the brain is that illnesses of the brain are not to be ashamed of or afraid of, that it's, if someone has cancer, we don't make up stories and be ashamed of their cancer. I watched a whole slew of listened to a bunch of TED Talks while I was doing things on Saturday, and I had Googled TED Talk mental health stigma and just listened to one after the other. And the stigma is still there. I have it. I had it. And I want to just say, hey, let's talk about this. I looked this morning, there's another tragic shooting, the Boulder King Soopers shooting, the school shootings, these white men, it's mental illness that they have. And if this can be caught sooner, and if we can work together and start with getting rid of the stigma. So I've been seeing my therapist, because this is too much for me to deal with on my own. And it's helpful, so to have a support network, to have the luxury of therapy, and telehealth. Thankfully, we're able to, when we see a counselor or therapist, we use the word see because so much of communication is nonverbal. So I'm very appreciative to help clients with telehealth, and I'll share the links below. I trust this information is something that you can think of a little bit and can be helpful. So wishing everyone a good week.